Oh, you know we're gonna talk about Gina Carano going head-to-head with the House of Mouse. Someone somehow stole a 200-foot radio tower, and a man was arrested for plotting to, quote, conduct acts of violence at the Mexico border. All in today's People Are As Bold As They Are Dumb episode of... But before we start, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our updates. And also, hi internet, good to see you. And Alice, can we lead with the Carano story first?
Gina Carano has initiated a lawsuit against Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company, citing wrongful termination from the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian. Carano alleges her dismissal was due to her expression of right-wing views on social media, particularly a post comparing the treatment of American conservatives to Jews in Nazi Germany. The lawsuit claims Lucasfilm and Disney enforced a singular acceptable ideology, terminating those who diverged. Disney and Lucasfilm have yet to respond to the lawsuit.
Alright folks, let's warp into a galaxy of legal battles that, frankly, seems more like a storm in a teacup than an epic space opera, but, you know. Gina Carano, a once beloved figure in the Star Wars universe, has decided to take on the Death Star of entertainment, Disney, with a lawsuit that, to some, might seem as pointless as a blaster against a lightsaber. It's like watching an X-Wing take on the entire Empire solo. Admirable, but you kinda gotta wonder what was the game plan here. Now, Carano's beef with Disney and Lucasfilm is over the narrative of being silenced for her political views, which, weirdly enough, in the vast universe of public opinion, taking a swing at Disney has almost become a rite of passage or some sort of badge of honor in certain circles. It's like the moment she filed that lawsuit, she instantly became a martyr in the cosmic battle for freedom of speech. The thing is, this lawsuit, while dressed up in the noble robes of fighting for freedom of expression, might just honestly be another episode in the saga of the culture wars. While she claims this is all about standing up to an online bully mob, one has to wonder if this is a hill worth dying on. Especially when it involves going toe-to-toe with a behemoth like Disney. I mean, DeSantis tried that, and it didn't exactly go the way he thought it would. In fact, talking to some people in Florida, his popularity there started to tank when he was laser-focused on the mouse's house, so... It turns out, when a large chunk of your state's revenue is coming from a place, it's not really cool with the people, that you know, you go after that place. The narrative here seems less about the specifics of Carano's case, and more about the spectacle of challenging the entertainment empire. Like challenging Darth Vader to a duel. Not because you think you can win, because you can't, but because of what it symbolizes. Or the need for clout, you know. It's one of those two things. So in the grand scheme of things, this lawsuit feels like it might be a bit more about making a statement than, you know, changing the outcome. Also, let's not forget where The Mandalorian sets its landing gear. Manhattan Beach Studios in California. Ah yes, California. Not just home to the glitz and glam of Hollywood, and me, but also home to the at-will doctrine. This little tidbit adds another layer of complexity to the saga, or simplicity. However you want to take it. Because in the grand tradition of California's at-will doctrine, employers in California have a bit more leeway when it comes to hiring and firing. As California Labor Section 2922 provides, an employment having no specified term may be terminated at the will of either party on notice to the other. Meaning that an employment relationship can be terminated by either party at any time with or without cause, and with or without advance notice. So Disney might just have been wielding its lightsaber within the bounds of the law when they decided to part ways with Gina. I mean, public image is sort of their business, so you hurt their bottom line. But where do you land on it? Do you think Disney was in the wrong for firing her, or do you think they were within their right to do it? Let me know. And apparently the whole thing is gonna be funded by Elon. Yeah, so like I said, culture war nonsense.
A 200-foot AM radio tower in Jasper, Alabama has been stolen, leaving the local station WJLX's AM signal significantly impacted. The theft has left the station and its general manager, Brett Elmore, in disbelief. Efforts are underway to work with the FCC for a temporary solution, while the station rebuilds its AM operations.
Yep, so in sum, you can't make this stuff up news. Someone decided that a giant 200-foot radio tower was just what their collection was missing. That's right. A whole radio tower has vanished into thin air, or so it seems. Can you imagine that phone call? Hey, you're that radio station, right? Yeah. That radio tower on top of your building? Yeah, that's gone. Yeah, no, gone. Like gone. Now let's break this down. A cleaning crew shows up, ready to tidy up the place, only to find that there's no tower to keep company. Just some lonely wires waving in the wind where the tower used to stand. It's kind of like a magic trick, but instead of a rabbit disappearing from the hat, it's a massive steel structure that's pulled a Houdini. Impressive. Now, Brett Elmer, the manager, said he's been in the radio game for about 26 years and says this is a first. Shocker! Really? And in an industry where people like to overshare with their on-air confessions, being able to say this is a new one is kind of a statement. Now they're scrambling to get things back on air, working together with the FCC to patch things up temporarily. But Elmore did point out, whatever these thieves thought they were going to gain from this heist, it's definitely not going to be worth the heat coming their way. Because as it turns out, this is a federal crime. Of course. What the fuck were they thinking? So if you're thinking of starting a collection, maybe stick to something less conspicuous than radio towers. Because finding a 200-foot rod isn't exactly a game of Where's Waldo. But still pretty fucking funny. I wonder what they're gonna use it for. Winner gets like a pat on the back or something.
A Tennessee man was arrested for allegedly planning acts of violence at the U.S.-Mexico border. The man, identified as Paul Fay Sr., engaged with undercover FBI agents, discussing his intentions and beliefs regarding government actions and immigration. He faces charges related to the possession of a non-registered firearm.
Alright, so Paul Fay Sr. has found himself in a plot thick enough to rival a spy thriller, except he may have unknowingly been the villain in this movie. Fay, caught in the FBI's web, was allegedly laying out a plan to conduct acts of violence at the border, believing it was time for the, quote, patriots to rise up against what he saw as an invasion facilitated by the government's immigration policies. The saga began on TikTok, where Fay first connected with someone he thought was a like-minded ally. Little did he know his new friend was an undercover FBI agent. Their conversations, which started online, soon escalated to phone calls and eventually led into in-person meetings. And it wasn't just one agent. Fay was sharing his grand vision with multiple undercover agents, thinking he was building a coalition. By April, he was discussing coordinating with militia groups across Kentucky, Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee. His plan? To transport explosive devices to the border, all the while avoiding law enforcement detection. Doing things in public is obviously the way to commit crimes. Don't go committing crimes. Fay saw himself as a key player in the operation, boasting about his sniper skills and claiming his talent was sending rounds downrange. He was ready to be the first on the scene and last to leave, ensuring the safety of his comrades from a rooftop if necessary. But here's where reality bites back. Fay's arsenal included a non-registered firearm, landing him in hot water with the law, and now he's staring down the barrel of a potential $250,000 fine and up to 10 years in prison. Oh, how quickly things can escalate from online rhetoric to real-world consequences. In other words, be careful who you're talking to online, especially if you're trying to commit crimes, I guess. And on that piece of news, we're gonna call it. Now make sure you hit that like button and help me fight the suppression monster. And until I see ya, bye.